Good afternoon. Welcome into another edition of Legal Access. We get together each and every Thursday at this time to give you tips on various topics of the law. Today we're going to be talking about workers' compensation. If you have any questions, if you've been hurt on the job and you want to know what you should be doing, or if you're an employer or a manager and you want to know what you need to do if one of your workers gets hurt, today is your day. Give us a call. The number is on your screen, 843-848-8080. Call us here today as we talk about workers' compensation. On the panel to answer those questions for you from the McGuire Law Firm is Ian McGuire.
Good to see you again.
Also want to welcome back to Natasha Hanna.
Thank you.
And also from the McGuire Law Firm, Brittany Jones.
Hey, Dave.
Hey.
It's great to have Natasha back with us. It's been a while, at least when I'm on the show with you. And Natasha's an outstanding attorney. Topic today is workers' comp, which of course is something you have really excelled at and do a great job with. And I know you zealously represent all your clients. But tell us about your firm, because I know you do workers' comp, you do personal injury, and you do some real estate as well, don't you?
That's right. We have, I kind of call it two sides of the house. On one side of the house, we do real estate, which is litigation. Which is residential and commercial real estate. And then on the other side of the house, we have gosh, my words are getting tongue-tied today. We have personal injury, breach of contract, workers' comp, those three areas. So.
And you do some criminal defense?
We do some criminal defense. Lots of fun. Love it all.
Covered, and she's an outstanding trial attorney.
Thank you.
If you have any questions on workers' comp, of course, give us a call. But if you want to delve outside of the workers' comp arena, feel free to do that as well at 843-848-8080. That's 843-848-8080 is our number.
Got a little bit less than 30 minutes left in the show, but don't wait until the very end of the show to call us. Call us right now. We'll get you on the air and get those questions answered for you the best we can. Let's go ahead and start at the beginning. If you're at work and you get hurt, something that's very obvious, and you go tell your employer or your manager about what's going on, what is their responsibility to do to help you out?
You want me to take that?
Yeah.
First? All right, I'll do it. So the employer's responsibility is to make sure, number one, that you get the proper medical care that you need, especially if it's an urgent situation, to call the ambulance. And if it's not an immediate emergent situation where you need to go to the emergency room, then they have an obligation to make sure that you get the proper medical care. Typically what happens, the employer reports it to their HR person, and then the HR person goes and obtains the proper medical care. In South Carolina, the employer does have the right to choose who your medical providers are.
So
That's
if
step one.
the medical provider is not somebody who is giving you the answer, I mean, you go to see them and they say, oh, you're really not hurt that bad, you need to go back to work. Do you have the access to be able to go to your own doctor or get a second opinion?
You do, but there's some caveats to that. So because the law does allow for the employer or the insurance company to select the actual provider, you do have to go through that course first. If you go to the doctor and that doctor says you're fine, or you're still hurting, you're still injured, you can get a second opinion, but you have to let the carrier make that first decision or deny a second opinion first. And then if that doesn't work, then you can go to your own doctor.
So if you've been hurt at work, it seems like it's kind of cut and dried that they should take care of you workers' comp-wise. What are some of the things that might complicate that and not get them to agree to that initially?
Yeah, I mean, you say it's cut and dry, and a lot of times it is, and unfortunately there's a lot of little caveats that are involved with workers' comp that make it not so simple. A lot of it comes down to whether the injury actually occurred at work. I mean, sometimes there's issues with notice. Somebody will get hurt, they think they're going to be okay, they don't say anything for a certain amount of time, and then and usually generally you have 90 days to give notice, but if you don't give it from a practical standpoint a lot sooner than that, then the employer is a lot of times gets suspicious or skeptical about the incident and will actually deny the case. So another issue that comes up is the employer, we've had this happen, I'm sure you've had this, Natasha, where the employer say, well, look, go to the doctor, but you don't have to say it happened at work.
Right.
And the problem with that is then there's no notation in the records that it was a work-related injury. It makes it very difficult for the doctor later on if they're asked about it. So always be honest and be straightforward with your employer, and hopefully they'll do the same with you. And it never hurts to sit down with an attorney, self-serving or not, for us to say that. The insurance company who ends up handling any time where there's a workers' comp case, it's actually the insurance company behind the scenes, not the employer for the most part. And they always have their attorneys assessing things as they go along. So it really is a good idea to sit down with an attorney, even if you don't need to hire one.
Great advice.
Yeah.
And Brittany, as far as self-serving is concerned, I mean, a lot of people think that they can handle a workers' comp claim themselves, and they can legally, but what are they missing out on if they don't have an attorney in their corner for something like that?
Yeah, and there can be all sorts of things. Of course, you know, it depends, right? Is our favorite line, but it's really important to have an attorney helping you guide the way, and especially there are certain types of cases. For example, if it's a third-party liability case, you're going to definitely want an attorney who is experienced in both workers' comp and in handling other types of personal injury matters to help you, because there are ways that you can settle those cases where you might actually keep yourself from certain types of recovery. So you want to have somebody in your corner who's well-versed in both of those things so that you don't miss out on anything. You know, you don't know what you don't know, so you always want to have somebody in your corner that does.
Does it matter if you're a full-time, part-time, or independent contractor for this individual?
It does matter if you're an independent contractor, but as far as full-time or part-time, if you're injured at work and it's in the course and scope of the work, then you should qualify for workers' comp.
And I guess as far as part-time work is concerned, if you get hurt on job A, but you have two other jobs, or you maybe drive for Uber or Lyft, or you've got another part-time job, are you able to, since you're going to be out of work because of what happened on job A, are you going to be able to get compensation for the work you're going to be missing for job B or C?
That is very possible, and that's very astute of you to ask that question. So, because that is one of the interview questions that we ask our clients, you know, when they first come in the door is, were you working anywhere else? Because if they are injured because of job A, then they could be entitled to compensation for both jobs.
Yeah, except if it's North Carolina, they don't let you do that. But we're talking South Carolina here today for the most part. But we do have, I think we reach out into North Carolina a little. So just may not be able to do that in North Carolina, but you definitely do it in South Carolina, and it could make a huge difference on a case, right? Sometimes people get hurt on a job they're doing part-time, and their compensation rate wouldn't be that high, but their other job pays really well, and you want that sum to be included, right? And when you're figuring out the compensation rate, so it's the first thing. One of the first things we always ask.
Since it's basically an insurance claim, why would workers? What are some of the reasons that businesses would deny a claim for one of their workers?
Well, first of all, it's like anything. Insurance rates probably go up if there's a number of claims. I find that a lot of the employers are fantastic with the injured people. It's just, when it comes to the insurance company, and some of the insurance companies are great too. But generally, the adversarial positions are not the employee and the employer. It's the insurance company and the employee, who the insurance company is trying to limit the amount of payments and benefits that are at times, and at least that's the way it seems from our end, from where we sit. Yeah. We're talking about workers' compensation here today on Legal Access. If you have any questions, the phone number is on your screen. Don't wait to the very end of the show to try to get your call in last minute. Call us now, 843-848-8080. Workers' compensation, again, our topic here today on Legal Access, brought to you by the McGuire Law Firm. I'm going to take a quick little break. When we get back, we'd love to talk to you, so give us a call here on Legal Access. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to Legal Access, as we're talking about workers' compensation here today. Give us a call and we'll get those questions answered. Here on the panel to answer those questions from the McGuire Law Firm is Ian McGuire. Also welcome into Natasha Hanna, and also from McGuire Law Firm is Brittany Jones. And on the phone with us right now to join the fray, we've got Cheryl from Myrtle Beach. Hey Cheryl, thanks for calling in. What's your question for the panel today? Go ahead.
My son was working November, December for the last couple of years with UPS delivering packages. And the first part of November this year was when we had that cold spell, and he ended up slipping on ice on somebody's driveway. Completely went back on his back. they kept him working the one day, and then he told them he was really in a lot of pain, and they had him see their doctors, but all in all, they never let him go back to work, and the season ends at Christmas, and he got a total of $89, and he was normally working 12-hour days or 10-hour days, 5 days a week.
Okay, so, let's talk in sort of general terms because we don't know all the details. But, undoubtedly from what you're telling us that he certainly would have a workers' comp case. He potentially might even have another case too, a third-party case, but he definitely would, if he's hurt in the course and scope of employment, it's a workers' comp case. If the doctor, his doctor or a doctor with workers' comp took him out of work, they take the average weekly wage. If it was his first week on the job, it sounds like he was doing it seasonally, so he did it the year before. You could probably go back and look at what he made the year before, but otherwise you could get his average weekly wage, and then if the doctor has him out of work for a period of time, in this case, if he wasn't able to work for that whole Christmas season, and the doctor says, yeah, because of his injury he wasn't able to work, then he may be entitled to two-thirds of his average weekly wage during that period of time. We talked earlier in the show about, if he had another job, that those wages might be considered as part of his average weekly wage as well. Do you all have anything to add to that?
No, I think that's great.
But
Yeah, because he worked long hours, he's done this job 3 years in a row at that time of year.
Yeah.
And they end up giving him a check for $89. And, it's a job that you're making close to, $20 an hour.
Yeah, and I think that the issue is going to be, did the doctor take him out of work, or even now, if you can go back and see if a doctor had taken him out of work, it might be worthwhile to sit down with an attorney. I remember back when I was a student, I worked UPS, the same thing in November, December, and you actually could make enough money to last you for months. It's because you're so busy during that period. So I'm sorry that he went through that, because that's probably a tough loss at a tough time. But if the case has not been closed out, he may be able to still go back. Certainly if he has any permanent problems, that's something that would need to be addressed as well. So it's not too late. Clearly notice was given if they paid something, so it might be worth his time to sit down with an attorney and at least be able to go through the full picture and see if there's any way that he can get additional benefits and compensation.
Yeah, and usually it wouldn't cost you anything to sit down with an attorney and have somebody look over things and see if there's anything else that could be done.
Yeah, free consultations are available, and Ian, if I'm not mistaken, you also have a book out as far as workers' compensation to give tips and helpful hints.
Yeah, and most of the firms that handle workers' comp will, and we have a number of good firms in the area, and they'll see you, without charging anything for initial consultation. I think that's pretty much standard in the industry for what we do. Yeah, and if you just have questions, you could always call an attorney and just that does work. Make sure it's somebody that does workers' comp on a regular basis. But yeah, like Dave said, we have a book that sort of goes over some general things that come up. But yours is sort of a unique situation that you probably really would want to sit down with an attorney, and I think it would be worthwhile to do it.
So yeah, Cheryl, even though it was November, you've got a few years to get that taken care of. So call somebody, get some help on that, and see if you can move forward for your son. Did you wear little brown shorts when you were doing UPS?
They did not. I guess they didn't plan on keeping me for a while because they never made us do that. So, but I do remember we worked through the night, and it was just unloading trucks, and it was really hard work, but really it was good money at the time, and that goes back to the Ice Age when I was doing that. But no, it is it's a good job. But I really appreciate the call, Cheryl, and it's a great question. And unfortunately, the question is based on your son going through a rough time. So I hope he's feeling better. And if not, I would certainly sit down with an attorney in the next few weeks.
I can see a new ad campaign. What can McGuire do for you?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think we're in trouble for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, well.
They probably branded that, right? But,
Cheryl, thanks for calling. Good luck in your case. And if you need some help, call a workers' comp attorney and see how much further you can go with this. And we have Buddy on the line with us right now. Hi, Buddy. Thanks for hanging on. What's your question for the panel today?
I got a question. If you're a professional driver and you're out in a company vehicle and you're driving along and you're stopped and somebody runs a red light and hits you and you get hurt, what kind of situation is that? Is that like a workers' comp, or is that a personal injury, or what do you do with that one?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Buddy, because you actually would have two claims. You would have a workers' comp claim because you were driving your company vehicle, assuming that you were working at the time, and then you would also have what's called a third-party liability claim against the person that hit you. And those can be pretty complex because you want to make sure that you follow the certain rules that comply with workers' comp as well as a third-party liability claim. So I know we keep saying it, and it does sound self-serving, but do reach out to an attorney because those types of situations can be very complex because you got to make sure that you handle each case appropriately.
yeah.
Definitely, Buddy. That's a great question.
And yeah, I jokingly say if you have to get hurt, if it's at work and it's somebody else's fault, because you do, as Natasha said, you're getting two bites at the apple. You get benefits that you should be entitled to under workers' comp, and then you also have separate damages that might not be inclusive in a workers' comp case, like loss of enjoyment of life and pain and suffering, those kind of things that you can recover in the third-party case. So, as Natasha said, yes, it would be smart to sit down with the attorney and make sure that, because if you don't handle it, as she said, properly, you may lose or you may waive your ability to get workers' compensation. If that makes sense.
So yeah, Buddy, definitely get in touch with somebody. Appreciate your call here today. Hopefully that helps out. We've got plenty of time for you to get you up on the phone here, so give us a call. If the phone number's on your screen. We have Neil on the line with us right now. Hi, Neil. Thanks for calling in. What's your question today? Go ahead.
Hi, I wanted workers' compensation against the city of New York. The judge offered me a tentative payment, but my attorneys refused to go forward to get the remainder of what I'm owed. What can I do? Can I open the case by myself? Should I hire an attorney? What is it you suggest?
All right, so we're going to all say the same thing, and that is, unfortunately, since it happened in New York, none of us are licensed in New York to really even give really any insight other than from what you're telling me. I'm sorry you're going through that, but at least you were successful in winning the case. Yeah, I would go back, and if those attorneys don't want to help you, I would see about getting an attorney in New York, or at least someone licensed in New York that could help you with that. I wouldn't let it go. Time might be of the essence, so I would do it as soon as you can. I don't know if you all have anything to add. So, and that's a great question, Neil. That every state, the laws are a little different. The benefits are a little different. Even North and South Carolina, even though they're contiguous states, there are little differences in the law in both states. So, New York is apparently markedly different than South Carolina, from what I've heard. So, even though I hail from Queens originally, I'd be scared to give an opinion on what you should do other than sit down with somebody that practices in New York. And best of luck to you, Neil.
All right, Neil, thanks for calling. We've had a lot of great phone calls already. We're coming up on our final segment, so don't wait any further if you want to give us a call about workers' compensation. Phone number is 843-848-8080. Call us and we'll take your calls right after this break here on Legal Access. We're back. It's Legal Access. We're talking about workers' compensation here today. Got plenty of time to get you on the phone, but don't wait too much longer. 843-848-8080 is our phone number here today. We got Kirby, who's been waiting patiently through the break in North Myrtle Beach. Hi, Kirby. Thanks for holding on. What's your question today?
Good afternoon. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure thing.
My question is regarding the mandatory requirement for the COVID vaccination and the resultant injury to, say, blood clots and heart problems right after that. And I guess the primary question is that a workman's comp, if it's mandated by the employer, and also the vaccination was given at work. So.
I don't know the answer to that. but-
I couldn't hear very well. I heard the COVID and vaccination.
So it's my understanding he indicated that employer required to have a COVID vaccine. There was some side effects and injury resulting from the COVID vaccine, and he actually was forced to take it, and the vaccine was given while he was at work. So do the injuries result in a workers' comp claim? I could guess at that, but
Yeah,
that is such a new area.
Yeah,
of
and
law.
let me,
Yeah.
Kirby, there's a couple of attorneys that actually handle a good amount of cases related to COVID. So I would definitely get online and look to see if you find one. I believe there's a good firm in Florence that was doing a lot with that. On first blush, I would think, yeah, it sounds to me like if you can check all those boxes and prove all those things, I would think that it would fall under workers' comp. But with just the limited information that you mentioned.
What's the statute of limitations on that? Because I'm assuming that probably would have been in 2020, maybe 21 when that happened. So.
Yeah, I would just sit down with an attorney as quickly as you can. Generally you have 2-year statutes, but there's so many exceptions, especially with this. So that's something you definitely want to sit down with an attorney to discuss. But I would do it as soon as possible.
What's the practicalities on something like that? Because obviously the defense would say you need to prove that if you had a heart attack that came from the COVID shot. I mean, so they would have an expert on their side saying that there's no proof that this is connected.
Yeah, anytime you have a case that's sort of outside the normal realm, and you sort of are going to have an uphill battle in some respects. But again, if you could check all the boxes, rules with heart attacks are very different. It's part of the statute, which won't. It'll take a long time to go through it all here, but I would really encourage you to sit down with an attorney soon, because time may be of the essence with this as well if you haven't done anything yet.
When we talked to Buddy earlier, he was asking about an accident driving to work or during work in a work truck. How about, a lot of people will say, well, I was on my way to work after I left home. Does that count if I get into an accident and that's somebody else's fault as far as workers' comp is concerned?
Yeah, we call that the coming and going rule. So it really depends on each specific case. Like, for example, I had a client who had pulled into the parking lot. She was walking into her place of employment when she was injured. And so, of course, the defense argued that she hadn't punched the clock yet. So every single case is different based on the specific circumstances.
But I bet you won that case.
We did. Yeah, we did. So
There's
we were
case
able
law.
to. Yeah.
And
Yes.
there's if you have a company truck and there's advertised on the truck, or you're on the phone, something with work, there's all these exceptions, right?
Absolutely.
Generally, we'd say no, but as Natasha's had a great example of a time when she won the case, and if first blush you'd say no, she wasn't at work yet, that's going to be denied, right? But she was successful. So there's exceptions.
Thanks for all the phone calls here today as far as workers' compensation is concerned. If you have any further questions, you can email us, legalaccess@WMBFnews.com. Next week when we get together, our topic is going to be DUI law. So if you have any questions about that, make sure and tune in next Thursday for the same show. We'll see you then. For Ian McGuire, Natasha Hanna, and Brittany Jones, I'm Dave Priest. We'll see you next Thursday right here on Legal Access.
You may wish to consult a lawyer to obtain case-specific legal advice. Information regarding lawyers can be located online or by contacting the South Carolina Bar Lawyer Referral Service, toll-free at 1-800-868-2284. If you are currently represented by an attorney, you should direct all legal questions to your attorney. The nature of any legal issue may depend on a multitude of factors. Therefore, the information provided in this program is purposefully broad and does not constitute legal advice. Please contact and retain